This podcast is intended for mature audiences only.
There's a certain kind of night you can feel even before it starts, where you know exactly how you look, you know exactly what kind of attention it's going to bring, and you decide that you're not going to tone it down. That was the kind of night this was. We went out to Vegas with zero intention of playing it safe, and once things started to build, we didn't stop. We followed it. Where that night ended up says a lot about actually how we operate as a couple. So we're going to walk you through it from the moment we stepped out of the door to the moment we realized how far we'd taken it. As we get started, let me bring in my subby Chris to guide the conversation today like a good little cuck.
Thank you, Goddess. Appreciate it. And also always appreciate the little barbs at the beginning. Before we get started, I'll, like always, just want to go over just a couple of quick announcements. Um, First, just a quick reminder, we want to hear from all of you. If you've got questions, situations you're dealing with, or something you want us to break down on the show, send us fan mail. That's how we keep this real and make it about what's actually going on and through the mind of all of you. It's super easy to send us fan mail. You just go to the show notes and literally click on the link that says send us fan mail. And you can send either a text or you can send a voice message that we can actually play on the show. And thank you to all of you that sent in. We're going to try to get to as many questions as possible. Want to let you all know, Lexie, we gained another about 10 countries this past week. So we went from last week. I think we were like at 63. Now we're at 76 countries and 1,331 cities as of recording of this show.
Woo!
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So thank you all for listening in. But if you want more access to Lexie herself, make sure you subscribe to her Fansly. She's Cuckoldress Lexie on there, and that's where you get a deeper look into everything we talk about here on the show. You get some fun pictures and videos of Lexie, along with some personal interaction with her. So highly recommend you look her up on Fansly. It's a pretty awesome page that she has there. So let's get to Vegas. Okay, so this story happened. What was it, honey? It was
In
in February,
February.
right? End of February, so a few months ago, and we were in Vegas for something separate, but we knew we were going to have one night where we were going to be able to just go out and have a good time. So, Good Time Lexi came out, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Is the story of that night in Vegas, which got pretty cool, and kind of just the emotions that go through. So as Lexi set it up perfectly as always, just uh, how our relationship unfolds. This night is kind of a microcosm of our relationship. So as always, Lexi had me write some questions, and we're just going to ping pong back and forth on some of the thoughts around these. So okay, so let's start at the beginning, Lexi. What made you dress in this really hot? It was almost like a greenish, bluish tint. Maybe you can describe the dress, but what made you pick out that dress specifically for that night?
So that dress was deep teal, and it was it was practically chrome. I mean, it was just very not reflective, but it was satiny, and it was short. It was backless. It had these like barely there spaghetti straps. I mean, it was form fitting. It was fancy and gorgeous, and I mean, I, as soon as I knew we were going to Vegas and we were going to go out for at least one night while in Vegas, that dress immediately popped into my head because it screams Vegas, and because it screams Vegas and it screams a night out at a fancy place, I never get to wear it. So, I've had it and I've gotten to wear it like once. So I absolutely, I mean, it was immediately was like, that's the dress.
Yes, and I was really excited to see you in that dress because you're correct. You had only worn that dress once prior, and it wasn't with me. As
That's right.
as per usual, other people see her in her stuff way more than I do. So I was really, really, really excited for you to wear that dress too when you picked it out. I knew it was, and also when I saw that dress on you, there was only one hotel in Vegas that was screaming my name, and that was the Cosmopolitan. So we went to the Cosmo first, and when we were at the Cosmo, did you feel the attention you were getting, or did it kind of take a minute to hit you?
No, it took a while. I was so just kind of, wide-eyed and just eating up and um, taking in all the lights and all the fanciness that was Vegas. And, that hotel, we went to that fancy bar in it. What was it called? Like Sapphire or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that had like all these crystals everywhere, and it was so fancy. And I was focused on that. I wasn't really looking at.
Oh, you're talking about the chandelier bar.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, the chandelier bar.
Okay, I don't know why I had Sapphire in my mind, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I was
that
wondering
one.
what you were talking about. So I don't remember sapphires.
Whatever.
Yeah, and that was awesome to be there with Lexi because if anybody has been to Vegas and seen, you know, just the how beautiful people dress there and all that stuff. Lexi fit right in. She was in her element, and I was happy because when you were when you were younger, you had a bad Vegas experience. So I was dead set on showing you that Las Vegas can actually be pretty awesome. So I wanted to make sure that I took you there because I knew you would enjoy it. So from my side, I mean, I could tell from the word go, the guys were watching you pretty early on. Were you aware of it or just in your own world, like as you just said?
Yeah, it took me, I mean, we were at the that bar for maybe an hour. It took me until we had left that bar and gone downstairs to like the slot machines and the what's it called? Craps tables and
Yeah,
all that stuff to start to really look around and notice that I was getting some stares. Um, so I was in my own little world for quite a while, just taking it all in. But once I had kind of gotten a lay of the land and checked out the scenery and had had a moment to absorb it, then I started being more aware that, I was getting some looks.
yes, it was nice because I mean, I definitely noticed that,
Oh, you always do.
I always do. I'm on the lookout for who's looking at you. So did that attention though, when you noticed it, did it change how you were carrying yourself or at all, or were you already like in kind of a sexy mindset, or what are your thoughts there?
I mean, a little of both. So I was in a sexy mindset because I'm like, I'm in Vegas. I've got a sexy dress. I'm wearing heels, which I hate heels. They hurt, but they are sexy, so I do sometimes suffer through. So I'm wearing my heels and I was already in a sexy mindset. But I feel like actually finally noticing getting some of the attention that I wanted to get, it made me push my shoulders back a little more, carry my head a little higher, you know, walk with a little more oomph. I just it was nice to get confirmation that I did look good and that even in a place where everybody's dressed to the nines for the most part, I still was, garnering attention from people over the other girls there.
It was pretty awesome. It was pretty cool to see that. So then we were kind of by the slots. We walked over to the craps, and then there was like this little bar, not the chandelier bar. We'd already left the chandelier bar, but I remember we were sitting at a table. I think they were playing like good like I'm always all for like the 80s 90s type music. They were playing like that kind of genre. Um, Now when we were in there, and you were having a couple drinks. Did it start to feel like, just another normal night, or did you feel it kind of like building up, like, okay, this is going to be like a fun night out that's going to last long? Because at that point in time, it wasn't very late. I
No,
mean, it was still probably like 10 o'clock or so at that point. Like it was still pretty early. We went out pretty early that night.
yeah, if that. No, I mean, I definitely felt like it was building. I mean, it was at that point. I mean, it took me a while because, those fruity little drinks that are like basically a shot worth that they put in these little tiny martini glasses and charge you 25 bucks for you know, um, it was like, okay. But by the time we finally had played some games, made it around, and we got to that bar, I was feeling pretty good, and the music was nice. They did thankfully play some 90s, not just your 80s. So I enjoyed that, and I was feeling myself in my chair a little bit, dancing with the music. I knew we were going to have a long, fun night. I didn't know what we were going to do or where we were going to go, because I wasn't in love with that bar. It's not like I really wanted to stay there that long, but I felt like, okay, now the night's really starting to begin and get fun and I wasn't sure what was next, but yeah, no, I definitely knew that we were building to something else, something even more fun.
Yeah, and then we were gonna go to that speakeasy, that hidden speakeasy inside of the barber shop in the Cosmo, and there was
Which
like a
wasn't hidden at
it
all.
wasn't hidden at all. There was like a line snaking around. I was like, this is bullshit.
Clear windows.
There were
Like the
you knew where it was going. It's
it was there was nothing hidden about it.
garbage.
Yeah.
Anyways, we at that point in time we made the a good decision. We decided to go to Fremont Street, which and if you haven't been to Las Vegas, the Vegas Strip is like, okay, we're gonna, everybody's gonna dress up. We're gonna check your IDs. We're gonna run your social security number. We're gonna, do all this stuff before we let you in a bar and then charge you $30
I think they just did that
for a
all for
drink.
you, honey. That face. Like,
Exactly.
he's
But you
trouble.
go to
Let's
Fremont
check
and
him.
it's much more casual. It almost feels almost like a Bourbon Street in New Orleans. So we got down there and the energy shifted. What felt different to you there on Fremont Street? Because I feel like that's where you kind of hit your groove for the night.
Well, for one thing, I mean, I'm a Texas girl. I grew up here and I, so I'm all about the more easygoing, laid back places, whether it be a hole in the wall just general bar or like a country bar or something like that. Like I am all about relaxation and comfort and just partying and not, it's nice to go to the nice fancy places sometimes, but I feel a sense of relief and like I can really just um I don't know, be free. Have a free mindset whenever I'm in a place that is more relaxed, more people friendly, and not just everyone's in their own little corner and acting all proper with their pinky up as they drink their overpriced drink. So I loved it. And as soon as we got there, I had like not one, but two different girls be like, I love your dress. And so that really set the tone. I was like, oh my gosh, I love yours too. And it was just a good vibe. Like it was just great vibes on Fremont. It wasn't stuffy like the Chandelier Bar. It was very good vibes and relaxed, and I freaking loved that.
So at that point, then, were you thinking that the night was going to be taken like further? Because at that point, then we got to Fremont Street. It still wasn't very late. It was maybe like midnight. So were you thinking, okay, this is going to be one of our fun nights where we end up eating some random food at 4 a.m.?
Yeah, kind of.
That's yeah, and I didn't know. I was still on the fence if that's where the night was going to go or if it was going to be over pretty soon. I just didn't know how much steam you had left in you for that night.
I mean, I was perfectly fine staying there.
Hmm.
I didn't have any, all right, next place like I did at like the previous bar that we just talked about, I was totally content, if we stayed there the rest of the night, I would have been fine with it.
Right, right, right. And up until this point, it's been kind of a normal Vegas night, right? We go to
Hmm.
the Cosmo, you play a little slots, you win a little, you lose a little, we go by the craps tables, we have some
You
drinks.
lose, I won.
Yeah, exactly. We go to Fremont, Street, everything's normal, right? And so there's this donut place right at the end of Fremont Street. I think it's called Pink Box.
Yeah.
So, right.
Someone over here is obsessed with donuts.
I'm obsessed with donuts. So we went over to that pink box, and Lexie didn't feel like having any. So I think there was a carousel right out there, and you're like, I'm gonna sit out by the carousel while you go get a donut. I go in there, and I'm not gone more than 5 minutes, and I come back out. And Lexie, do you remember what's happening when I step out with my two donuts, one of which is for you?
Well, I had spotted a taxi that had was it Thunder Down Under?
Thunder from Down Under, I
Thunder
think.
from Down Under advertisement on the side. So it had these half naked men in jeans and these muscular men. And so I am like watching the door for him to come out. And I'm like flagging that thing down and he comes out and I'm like, come on, let's go. We're going there.
Yes, yes, that's exactly what happened. I come out and she's already got the cab door open. She's holding the door.
Well, you'd already been in there long enough. I knew you'd be out any second.
And I said, well, are we going back to where we're staying? And she said, no, we're going there. And she pointed to the Thunder from Down Under. And by this point, it's 1:30 in the morning or so, and
I don't know why you're looking at me. I don't know.
yeah, it was around that time, and I said, "Honey, I hate to break it to you, but Thunder from Down Under is not open at 1:30 in the morning. It's
Which
like a
is
show."
bullshit.
Yes, and so she was very disappointed. She was not having that, and so I said, "But I do know somewhere else that has male strippers." I don't remember what there's like a big like normal strip, or not normal, but there's a female strip club with female entertainers on the bottom floor, and on the top floor there's male entertainers. So I said we will go there. And Lexi, what was your reaction to that? Do you remember?
I mean, I was ecstatic.
Yes. And that was I've done a lot of fun stuff with Lexi. I've never been to a male strip club with Lexi. I've been to a female entertainer strip
Yeah.
club
The only reason is that
lots.
there's not one around here. That's the only
That's
reason.
the only reason why we haven't gone. Like, I've looked, for her for one, but I can't find one. But we went in Vegas, and so it was really funny because did you expect me when I walked out there and you were saying let's go to Thunder from Down Under? Did you expect me to push back at all?
No. I knew you'd be like, yes,
Yeah,
let's do this.
I was all about it. So when we first got there, what was the first thing it felt like when we walked? Because you walk in the bottom floor, you pay your cover charge, then they walk you up to the second floor, and ping, the elevator opens, and like, what are you thinking when it's just like, oh,
Well, I mean, from the very beginning, when you walk in with, the female strippers, there's just like this electricity in the air, like this just that it's sex. There's no sex actually happening, but there's just raw sex in the air. And so that's exciting. And so then we get to the top floor where the men are. And I mean, like, you have to go, when you get off the elevator, you have to like go around this long corner. And I'm practically like dragging him. I'm like, let's go, come on, faster. Why are you so slow? Like, I could not wait. And, we get in there and, this was, I guess it was still early in the night for them. I don't know, but there weren't like that many guys there. But I mean, I found a seat pretty quickly and, um, it took about 2 seconds for this cowboy, tall, tall, dark and handsome. Well, he wasn't really dark. He was just like slightly tan, but he was this tall, handsome cowboy to mosey on over and asked me if I wanted to dance. And I was like, why, yes, I just happen to want one.
well, yeah. And let's pause here for a second now and kind of dive into kind of the dynamics of our relationship and what was going through our heads and all that stuff. Because I asked you what was going through your head and all that when we walked up there. You know, from my side of the table, I've got the angst going. At that point in time, I'm like, holy crap. Like, I knew you were turned on. I knew you were like in a horny mood. I knew you were feeling yourself that night. And that, you had confidence in yourself, the way you were carrying yourself, and you were ready to see some hot guys. So I had the angst going. And as soon as the elevator opened for me, like, I spotted that cowboy guy like right away. And he was wearing the cowboy hat and jeans and no top and just like all muscles, and I was like, oh fuck. Like, that was my first reaction, was fuck, like that's who Lexi is gonna choose first. And I mean, you're right. I mean, we sat down, and I mean, the second that they came and took our drink order, I mean, he was on top of us. Well,
Mhm.
not on top of me. He was on top of you. And so what were you, so that was your first dance of the night. So like
Mhm.
tell me about that and what it was like and what you were thinking. Because I was sitting 6 inches from you as
Yeah.
this was happening.
Oh, I was enjoying the hell out of it. I mean, there's there are very few things more exciting than a just muscled up dude just dancing, like straddling your legs and dancing, convulsing his body slowly and rhythmically to the music, like showing off all those muscles. And I mean, yeah, it was nice.
So it's like, I mean, you looked actually turned on. Were you like turned on?
Yeah,
It was, did you, I mean, I was right there. Like, were you even like, was I existing in your head, in your universe at all?
yeah, like about this much.
But she's pointing a tiny little bit, right?
Like I knew I was aware you were there, but
Yeah.
that was about the extent of it.
There was one point where he he got you up because you were sitting on the chair, and he got you up and turned you around, and you were like standing, like bent over with your hands
Yeah,
on the chair,
yeah,
and he was like behind you, like kind of like doggy style,
like dry humping me
dry
basically.
humping you, and that's when you were directly facing me.
Yeah,
And that was hot. And also just like I don't it felt like it was just you and I like in that moment in time.
yeah.
And that's the cool part about whenever whenever I do get to participate when I'm in the room, like a lot of times it feels like even when there's another person there, like it feels like there's such a bond between you and I. I don't know if you feel that sometimes,
No, I
but
agree. I agree. You know, he's behind me. He's not in my line of sight, but you are.
mhm,
And so you and I are making eyes. I'm blushing.
mhm.
I mean, like as turned on as I am, I'm also, I can be a bit shy. So I'm like blushing the whole time and like just kind of smiling like, oh my gosh, this is happening. But yeah, no, I definitely feel like it was, a moment between us, a fun moment.
Yeah. So because you see this a lot in cuck porn, you see the woman making like deep eye contact with the guy, as the woman is, making
Mhm.
love to another guy. So I guess that's what they're what the turn on is, there's an emotional connection between the partners, and then there's somebody else, actually sexually taking the woman, if
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And it's a moment of reconnection because, when I'm sitting in the chair and he's on top of me doing his thing, you know, there's not really a connection between us at that moment. So I think that, that was a really well-timed, well-placed thing, him turning me around like that, because it did allow us to have, those moments, and which made it even better.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that was cool. I mean, at first I was like, my heart was like, oh, and then I was like, okay, this is super hot. Like she's right here. And then not, a minute after he was done, then a big buff black guy came over next.
Yeah,
I mean,
because he
just,
wanted me to go to like have a private dance, and I was like, nah, dude, I'm good.
yeah, right.
So yeah, then we had another guy just swooped right in.
Swooped right in. And I mean, so then I mean, it was copy paste basically.
Yeah.
Like it was the exact same thing.
Yeah,
Just,
it's a different vibe with him. He wasn't like cowboy. He was just like this, tall, dark black guy, and he was cute too. And so I had got a fun dance from him. He was, had more personality, I feel like, and so yeah.
yeah, so then we continue to be there. So at that point, then we've gotten change, and so now we have like a wad of dollar bills, and so Lexi is going up and giving the guys on stage, a tip, and then they would like do a little dance. But like, what were you thinking at that moment in time? Because at that moment in time, you were now going from, okay, we're having a private party with like, husband and wife and like maybe one other guy there, to now you're becoming like the center of the party in the actual, club. Like, what are you thinking at that point?
Well, at that point, I didn't feel like it was that I was the center of the party. At that point, I was just, throwing out dollars. It wasn't until that girl showed up out of nowhere. There was this girl there that apparently I think she maybe worked at the club downstairs on different nights, or maybe she didn't work there at all. I can't remember. But she just appeared and she came over to me and she had this gigantic stack of $1 bills. We're talking like hundreds of dollars worth of $1 bills. And she just like hands me 10 of them and she's like, "Here, so you can go tip him some more." And I was like, "Thanks." Um, well, I didn't get your name, so we start talking a little bit. So I go and tip the guy, I come back, and she waits for the next guy to come on stage, and then she hands me another wad of cash and says, "Here you go. Go ahead. Go." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'm like down with this." Um, but it wasn't long, I'm talking with her in between this. It wasn't long before she like I think she talked to the dancer on stage or something. She gave me like a big wad and she had me get up on the stage, laying down. I'm horizontal, folks, in this short dress. And he is doing a personal horizontal lap dance on top of me.
69.
69 at one point. He was literally on top 69 at one point. And meanwhile, she's like throwing, all these. dollar bills at him and stuff, and it was crazy. And there was like a bridal party there, and they were like screaming and cheering us on, and like it was the craziest moment.
Yes, and so let's now let's now go back to check on the cuck.
So you've been thinking about it. But turning fantasy into reality takes more than curiosity, it takes direction. I work with couples and individuals to guide you through the conversations and dynamics that make a cuckolding relationship actually work. Those first conversations and introductions to your fantasy are especially critical. Done right, it changes everything. Done wrong, it can break it. If you're ready to do it the right way, book time with me at cuckoldresslexie.com.
Okay, so here's so that I feel like it's one of those movies where it's like, your point of view, then it's like it switches to the other person's point of view. So, so Lexi is up there tipping the strippers, and they're kind of doing little dances, and then all of a sudden, like Lexi said, this beautiful woman, just appears out of. Did I say beautiful?
You did. You
Lexi
said
just. I
beautiful.
did I say beautiful? I said I
So,
think I said moodiful.
yeah, is that what you said?
She was moody,
Don't make
moodiful.
me come over there.
So, anyways, this woman appears like out of nowhere, like out of thin air, and starts handing her, all this money. And then Lexi starts to go like talk to her. And so they're hanging out. You guys are hanging out for a while, just chit-chatting.
Hmm.
You two, and then you start to like dance with each other. So you're dancing all sexy, you two. I'm still sitting in that fucking chair.
I forgot about you.
She literally forgot about me. I'm sitting there, and so at this point now we're like pushing 3 in the morning. So now it's packed in there. There's tons of other women in there. There's bachelorette parties, and I'm sitting there by myself as my wife is with. So I'm left alone. It was so humiliating, and and then they go up to the stage together, and she's throwing dollar bills at the stage, like Lexi says. Lexi's on the stage getting 69. At this point, I feel like I'm being double cucked by like two women because I'm like, holy fuck, she has like her cucking me is being bankrolled by like another cuckoldress right now. Like, what the fuck is happening? So like, I think that's funny because you had your perspective where you're partying. I'm sitting there and I'm like beat red, like I'm so embarrassed. Um,
The
and they were looking over at me, like the bachelor party was like looking over at me and like, oh yeah, that's like pointing, like yeah, that's
no way.
yeah, it was embarrassing as fuck.
Oh, poor thing.
Well, nicely done.
Thank
That's
you.
what you're supposed to take a bow. That is impressive. Yeah, it's very good cultures. Okay, so then what do you think it was like? I mean, is that what you thought it was like for me? Like, what did you think it was? I mean, was I even
No,
registering at you?
you were not on my radar.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, I mean, that was just a crazy night. And so it ended up, you partied with that other woman for a while, and
Hmm.
and more lap dances and all that stuff. And then eventually you decided that, we were going to go grab food, and we went to some random Thai food place by Circus, dodged some bullets, had some bad Thai food. And went
Dodged
back to
some
where we were
bullets.
staying. And again, it's just another wonderful example of how cuckolding doesn't have to always end up with another dude in the bedroom,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, I was definitely cucked that night, but it didn't end that way. I mean, a lot of times it does. A lot of times it ends with the guy in the bedroom, or a lot of times Lexi, alone with a guy that she's met or been dating, or whatever. They're out there alone. But a lot of times it doesn't. A lot of times we're just out and she does stuff like this. And I honestly think it's just as thrilling. So I want you, I mentioned that because, a lot of the guys that you coach, Lexi,
Yeah.
you, you know, sometimes you can't get your wife all the way there. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But sometimes they're willing to play games with you. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, not every girl who has a husband or a partner that wants her to go sleep with another man and cuck him about it is going to be willing to do that. Some will, some won't, and you have to feel them out. It's a delicate process, but there is still fun to be had, even if she's not willing to actually go all the way. She might still be willing to do fun things like, what we're describing tonight. And you can't tell me that that wouldn't still be fun, guys.
Right. Right. I mean, I almost think of it like the actual like sexual acts are like halftime at the Super Bowl. It's I mean it's pretty cool, it's awesome, it's fun, you don't want to miss it, but it's everything before and after that that actually really counts in the long run. And so that's where I think the teasing and the aftercare and all that stuff is just so important to this lifestyle. So that was the story of our really fun night in Las Vegas. And as always, Lexi is just amazing company and just she just does her thing. That's what I like about being with her. She just owns it. She just is who she is and she just likes to have fun. So, Lexi, I think we're going to transition now to some viewer questions, to some listener questions,
Yeah,
right?
let's do it.
Yeah, we got a bunch this week. We have time for four that we picked out, and it's cool because they kind of came from all over the map.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean we're in more than 75 countries now, so we're getting questions kind of from everywhere. Haven't gotten any of voice ones yet though, so please send us a voice one. I really want to hear those ones. But Lexi, I'll hand it over to you. You want to kick us off with the first question?
I think you're gonna do the first question.
Well, I was going to do the first one. All right, then. Let's see here. The first question um, came from Cincinnati, Ohio. So this listener actually had more of a thought than a question, but I kind of wanted to address it. So this listener said, "My wife and I listen to your podcast, and we are in a cuckoldress relationship. This podcast is very informative and steamy. Definitely helped me out and helped work through the jealousy issue with her bull when her bull and her were talking on the phone, and we communicated and aftercare." And it was just like a slap in the face. In reality, like, holy shit, this is really happening, and it was an emotional roller coaster. Again, thanks for your podcast. Wasn't aware of the podcast for this lifestyle. Yeah, and I think that that's a really good. So I just totally understand where that question is coming from. So I could totally see this happening, Lexi, where you're you have a bull, a regular bull, or you have, a guy you're dating or something like that, and then unexpectedly, like I hear you chit-chatting and laughing with him on the telephone. Like my first reaction is going to be jealousy. And so I feel what this guy is feeling because just because we're able to eroticize our jealousy a lot in this lifestyle doesn't mean that jealousy isn't there. It just means it's a band-aid. It's not really covering it up. You have to work at a deeper level to fix that part of you. But I mean, Lexi, do you have any thoughts on that, like from a jealousy perspective? I mean, I just, I know for you though, like you have the jealousy, right? And that's why we're not in like a swinger relationship. I mean, I would not want
Right.
anybody else, but you don't share.
Oh no, I don't share at all. I don't even share your mind. You're not allowed to be thinking about other girls.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't. To be fair, I really, Lexi occupies 100% of my mind.
Damn right.
100% of the time. All right, I'll toss it over to you for the next question.
Okay. All right. This one is from Irvine, California. Um, oh gosh, I remember this one now. Okay. Hello, guys. Really enjoying the podcast over the first few weeks. My wife and I have been experimenting this dynamic, and it's all pretty new. She did the bar scene, found a guy one time, and he did not respect her. The one thing she told him was to pull out and nut in a towel that she prepared. He, of course, did not listen and orgasmed inside of her, leaving me to buy a plan B and a lot of fear for the next month. Anyways, because of this, she has asked if she can take a lover instead of bulls. I agreed, but she wants someone she can trust, so it turns out that man is my best friend of 15 years. It is somewhat arousing, but also terrifying, and I am in a literal 50-50 split of I don't know if I want this, but this is also hot. They are yet to have sex because I have not allowed them to yet. I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on lovers and my best friend potentially being her lover. I fear it might be too close of a friend. Okay, freaking alarm bells going off. Like, um, red flags everywhere. I I'm just going to be completely blunt because that's what I am. I don't think that this is a good plan. The taking a lover instead of having bulls, good plan. It being your best friend of 15 years, not a good plan. Not a good plan. Rarely have I seen anything remotely like this have a chance of working. It's not that it can't happen. I'm sure it possibly could, but it would be very, very hard. But having a cuckoldress relationship is already very complex. There are a lot of emotions involved. It's a very complicated dance of a dynamic, and so it's can be fun and worth it. But if you throw in not just an extra layer, but like 10 freaking layers of complexity by having your best friend of 15 years be the lover, I mean, that just kind of blows it out of the water. And you're already expressing, some fear about it. I think that this would only lead to you losing that best friend of 15 years. It would lead to resentment in you toward both of them. I fear that it would damage your relationship with her. I just feel like there's just damage all around. I don't feel like this is a good idea. I feel like you should pump the brakes on him being the lover. She can find someone that, yes, everyone starts as a stranger, okay? Your best friend of 15 years, he started as a stranger. You know, she can find someone on a regular vanilla dating site, or maybe a site that's more geared toward this um, alternative lifestyle. But she can find someone and she can take her time getting to know him. She doesn't have to sleep with him the first time or even the second time or even third time meeting him. She can get to know someone and start to build and develop that trust um, in that way. It's and I think that that's going to be the best method to do that.
Completely agree. You're gonna the odds of it working out for the odds of it working out where they stay, where your wife and your best friend stay lovers, and that lasts for the rest of your life are not high. And so at some point in time, you're going to lose one of them or both of them. And it just doesn't seem like a risk willing to take for any amount of kink that is involved. It's like one of those kinks that is just
Mm-mm.
um like the other one where like some people have a fantasy of their wife getting pregnant by a bull. Like that one is just like where you got to just cut it off and be like, okay, that's just not realistic. Like it's just, whatever, if that's your fantasy, but obviously that's not something that is realistic. Like, and that I kind of feel this is in the same category. Just don't mix that. That's my personal opinion.
Yep. Okay, next question. London, England. Ooh. Across the pond. All right. Hi, Chris and Lexie. Been listening from London and really enjoying the show. All right. Bit of an honest one from me. I'm based in London, and the idea of this has been on my mind for a while. I'm in a solid relationship, nothing missing really, but there's still this pull toward wanting to explore something like this. Does this mean that something's lacking, or can this just be something you add to a relationship that's already strong? And how do you make sure it doesn't mess things up? So, great questions. No, it does not necessarily mean that anything is lacking at all. You can have a strong, healthy relationship that's healthy just from a straight relationship point of view and also a sexual point of view, and still have this longing, still have this fantasy. We all have things that turn us on, and if this is your fantasy, great. But it doesn't mean that anything's lacking. Um, it can definitely be something that adds and makes the relationship um, more interesting, more fun, more spicy. Um, but yeah, it's something that you do have to have that strong relationship, like you say you have a solid relationship in order to do it. Um, how do you make sure it doesn't mess things up? So that's a pretty complicated question, and there's a million different ways to answer that. It kind of depends on you and her. But to be just very general, I would say that actually kind of like what Chris just touched on is that, the kink is one thing, your relationship is another. So the kink is always going to have to be secondary. And if you ever find that it's becoming the kink or nothing, like you guys can't just have normal sex without some fantasy involved, someone else involved, anything like that, then that can be a warning sign. But you have to really be open and vulnerable. You have to establish trust within each other and your relationship. You have to be open and vulnerable with that person. You can't hold things back. If you start to feel some resentment build up, you need to address it right away. And you have to not push this on your partner if it's one thing to introduce an idea to your partner and, that's fine. But if you are pushing for it, and regardless of how they feel about it, if they're really unsure, they don't really seem into it, but you're like, yeah, but I want this, so please do it. That's not good. That can mess things up really quickly. That can lead to resentment on her end and things like that. So, um, as a general sense, that's, those are some ways that you should try not to do those things so you don't mess it up.
The one thing I want to add is you had mentioned, does this mean that something is missing from the relationship? Yeah, I would argue that in order to enter into any complex relationship dynamics, you have to already be whole in your relationship to begin. If something is missing in your relationship and you try to add this complex dynamic, you risk the relationship crumbling under the not a strong foundation.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so if it absolutely doesn't mean that something is missing. If you do this correctly, it means that nothing is missing. And actually, the one person I met before you, Lexie, that was in the lifestyle, actually put it perfectly when she said to me, my life is already whole. This is just the cherry on top. And I thought that that was a really nice way to articulate the lifestyle. So, all right, one more question here. We have time for one more question. So the final question is actually from Melbourne, Australia. That is awesome. Should I try to read this in an Australian accent?
Don't do it. My gosh.
I was not going to do it. I just wanted to see your reaction. It says, "Hey Chris and Lexi, listening from Melbourne. Love the pod. A bit we a bit of a bit weird one. Is that a saying there? Bit of a bit weird one. I can wrap my head around it in the moment, but I keep thinking about it after. Like once you're back home and everything's normal again, is it ever a bit awkward, or do you just carry on like nothing changed? I don't know if I'd be in my own head for the next day or if it would actually bring you closer. That I think this is an awesome question, actually.
Absolutely.
This is a really freaking good question now that I actually like pause and like think about it. So are things, and this is especially true like when you come back from like an overnight, when you're spending the night somewhere. Like is it awkward the next day? So I mean, what are your first thoughts?
No, I don't feel like it is. I mean, you're always pleased as punch. You're you're on cloud nine after those days. So I have no reason to feel awkward. I mean, as long as you're happy at the end of the day and I'm happy at the end of the day, then yeah, I don't feel that it's awkward at all. I feel like we just kind of carry on, and if anything, it's not like we don't just carry on and act like nothing happened, and that nothing changed. If anything, we feed into it. We make little comments, about, oh, last night he had me in this position. Did you know that? And things like that. So we don't just go about our business and not mention it. We mention it,
Mhm.
and we continue uh Chris's high.
Yeah, exactly. And that's almost kind of like our form of reconnecting, like initially,
Yeah.
is that playfulness, but it's very intentional, right? Like Lexi is doing it because she knows that I enjoy that,
Mm.
right? I'm assuming that's why you're doing it.
No, I'm just evil and I love to just rub it in your face. Yes, I know you like it.
So, yeah, I mean, she's just fantastic at it, and I think she enjoys, playing with my mind, but at the same time, it's this it's this reconnecting that we're doing. It's this dance that we're doing to fall back into each other's arms. And and so yeah, I wouldn't say it's awkward at all. I would say it's actually super exciting when you come back. The only awkward time ever, there was one, and that was when you came back from your weekend with with that high roller guy, and I met you outside, and I had brought you a dozen
Oh,
roses. Yeah.
oh,
And I had brought you a
man.
dozen roses. So Lexi was away for 2 whole days, and I was super excited that she got back. I had the house nice and clean, everything was ready to go. And I brought a dozen roses, and so I went to go meet her at the car. I handed her the roses, and she, oh, thank you so much. It's good to see you. A kiss, a hug. And she says, Cuck, go get my stuff out of the back. And I opened the trunk, and there are way bigger red roses. Where the hell did that guy get
I
them?
don't know.
Did they just show up in your room?
Yeah, they were there when I got there.
God, what a douche. I really don't like that guy.
Oh, stop.
I'm just kidding if you're listening. I just, that's the jealous, right? That's the jealousy coming out. But yeah, there was way bigger flowers, and then there was also just tons and tons of like gifts of jewelry and clothing and perfumes and chocolates and all of this stuff. And that was the only time that I thought it was a little bit awkward because like I don't even know. Like I felt like everything I had done like was so insufficient. But I mean I don't think Lexi felt that way.
Oh, no.
Yeah, yeah. So those were the questions for the week. Any final thoughts, Lexi, on anything we talked about today?
Turns out Vegas can be fun. Yeah,
Yes.
I had a bad experience several years back, about a decade ago, and yeah, it turns out I was just with the wrong guy, and this was a blast. I like Vegas now.
We should do a meetup in Vegas at some point in time with like some of our listeners, like do
Oh
something
my
like that.
gosh,
How fun would that be?
that would be fun.
If you are interested in something like that, send us a fan mail. Send us a fan mail with questions and like let us know like stuff like that you may want us to do in the future. Would be just super fun. Again, all you have
Yeah,
to
we're
do.
open to ideas.
We're open to ideas on topics too that you want to hear about. That would be really helpful too. So again, all you have to do is go to the show notes and click on send fan mail. It's a hot link, and it'll open it up where you have an option to send us a text, and we reply to those texts. Like so you will hear back from us, like thumbs up, like we'll address it or something like that, and or you can send us the voice one as well. So thank you all for joining us, and we will talk to you next week. Lexi, you want to say bye to all of our fans?
Bye, guys. Till next time.
I see it in your eyes, there's no way to hide it. Too many seconds you're wasting. Yeah, you don't need to fight it. I can tell that you're lost, there's no point in denying. I can see that you're lying, kinda cute that you're trying.